Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. More positive news. Paris Saint-Germain is set to make another signing. We've already signed Luka Dean, Magnus Achlios, Mika Götze, and Ferran Torres, set to be finalized. We're still pushing for them. And now we're going for a goalkeeper. I was not expecting Paris Saint-Germain to go for a goalkeeper in this summer transfer window. Already obviously made a video regarding the goalkeeping situation. In the last video, I talked about Suzuki, the Japanese goalkeeper that Paris Saint-Germain is set to sign, and we've already actually made a bid, and we're going to get into all of the reports. But let's quickly discuss the goalkeeping situation a little bit. And we can start off, honestly, with Donnarumma's departure. Donnarumma leaves the club. Paris Saint-Germain signed Chevalier, someone they've been monitoring for a couple of seasons. It doesn't go well for Chevalier. He just cannot handle the pressure from playing at Paris Saint-Germain. And then Safanov takes his spot. Ever since that Intercontinental final versus Flamengo, where Safanov saved 4 out of 5 penalties in the penalty shootout, he's been the starting goalkeeper for PSG. And obviously after his great Champions League campaign, leading us to winning the Champions League title for a second consecutive time, all the reports said PSG were happy with Safanov. PSG were happy with Safanov. Safanov was going to be the starting goalkeeper going into next season. The main question mark was obviously Chevalier. There were some reports that mentioned that Chevalier wanted to leave PSG. Then reports said the opposite. He's come to a conclusion and a decision alongside Luis Enrique that he's going to stay at PSG. But it's not looking like that anymore. Chevalier, it's looking like Paris Saint-Germain are going to sell him already after one season. I don't know how I feel about that. Chevalier, it wasn't some kind of panic buy or someone that was here like Donnarumma that Luis Enrique didn't sign. This is someone that Luis Enrique had been monitoring for a while. This is someone that Luis Campos had been monitoring for a while. And we don't want to give it another try. I don't understand. He's very talented. I think he's only, 23, 24 years of age. So, that's very young for a goalkeeper. But PSG looks like maybe it's Chevalier. Maybe Chevalier wants to leave. Maybe Chevalier doesn't want to, fight for a competitive goalkeeping spot. But yeah, the main question mark now comes to Matvei Safanov, because the way we're pushing for Suzuki is telling me that Luis Enrique already sees him as the starting goalkeeper going into next season. And I think a lot of that has to do with his profile. I think Safanov is a very good keeper, but he's good with the ball at his feet. He's definitely an improvement from Gianluigi Donnarumma, but Suzuki is like elite with the ball at his feet and also a very good shot stopper. So I don't honestly know. I like Safanov a lot. I like his mentality. The players like him. He showed it in the biggest games and everything. Suzuki's been playing for Parma. Maybe played in Japan previous to that. So he honestly hasn't played at that level and so on. And we saw Chevalier. Doesn't mean it will happen to Suzuki as well. But Safanov obviously is going to stay at PSG. So if, let's say, Suzuki joins, he stinks it up in the beginning, Safanov could just take the goalkeeping starting spot again. But it would be weird. Will Safanov start the big Champions League games that start off like the group stage, or will Suzuki start immediately? Will he get some Ligue 1 games? Will he have to prove himself? Will Safanov have to make mistakes for Suzuki to take his spot? So it's a little bit weird when it comes to the goalkeeping position. The past 3 seasons now, we're set to have 3 different starting goalkeepers. Safanov, Donnarumma, and now Suzuki, and we tried it out with Chevalier. But I'm not, how can I say? I'm not scared going into next season with this goalkeeping situation, just like I wasn't scared last season. A lot of people are like, oh my god, what are PSG going to do without Donnarumma? Donnarumma was massive. And I was like, yeah, he was really massive, but that's one player. That's one player. We still have everybody else. So if Luis Enrique and the PSG management want to do something different with the goalkeeping position, they might as well do that. But let's go into the reports, because we have a lot of reports. Just in, Paris Saint-Germain are leading the race to sign Zion Suzuki, ahead of Juventus, who are currently opting to explore alternatives. And that's the thing. Paris Saint-Germain have been competing with Juventus for the signing of Suzuki, and Juventus are obviously guaranteeing that he will be the starting goalkeeper ahead of De Gregorio at Juventus. But Suzuki wants to join PSG, even though he does not have a guaranteed starting position as a goalkeeper. But we continue. And the interesting with Juventus, this is like a domino effect. Lucas Chevalier is set to join Juventus. He will most likely be joining Juventus. So we get Suzuki, Juventus take Chevalier. But we continue with the reports. Paris Saint-Germain and Parma Calcio set to advance in talks for Zion Suzuki. The club have presented the project to the goalkeeper and await his decision. Juventus have decided not to pursue the signing of Zion Suzuki from Parma out of respect and honor the good relationship they've rebuilt with PSG recently. I have not seen this report before. What? This is one of the first times I've ever seen something like this. Juventus have decided not to pursue Suzuki out of respect and to honor the good relationship they built with PSG. That doesn't make any sense. However, Juve are set to approach PSG to ask for a season-long loan for the Japanese goalkeeper after his transfer from Parma is completed, or a potential loan deal for Lucas Chevalier. Okay, so maybe it's because they want Chevalier. They're letting us have... I've never seen something like... I've read reports for 5-6 years. I've never seen something like this. Okay, that's interesting. But as I said, could be Chevalier. But if Chevalier, I think, stays at PSG as the backup, we could potentially be loaning out Suzuki. I have seen some previous reports that if we can't get rid of Chevalier in the summer transfer window, we'll actually loan out Suzuki. But we continue. Major breaking. Paris Saint-Germain have submitted an official offer to Parma Calcio worth a total package of 33 million euros. I think we bought Chevalier for 40 million euros. We obviously got Donnarumma for free, Safanov for like 18 million or something. I mean, 33 million isn't that much, especially for a high-touted young goalkeeper, starter for the Japanese national team as well. And I've seen some tweets from PSG fans also mentioning that, you know, we lost Kangin Lee, we had huge market there in Asia with South Korea, but now signing a Japanese, and he's black as well. Like, he's even more famous. I don't know how to explain. He's more unique. He pops out more on the eye and stuff. So, and we've seen Paris Saint-Germain has a very multicultural team. I mean, we have a Georgian in Khvicha, we have a Ukrainian in Ilya Zabarny, we have a Russian in Matviev Safarov, we have an Ecuadorian in William Pacho. What more like obscure nations do we have? Maybe that's it. And then obviously a couple of French players and so on. Yeah, it would be interesting having a Japanese in the squad. But we continue. Paris Saint-Germain and Parma Calcio sits progressing talks with Zion Suzuki following the club's 33 million bid. PSG presented the project to the goalkeeper, also based on the future of Lucas Chevalier. Breaking: Zion Suzuki is attracted by the prospect of joining PSG and has opened the doors to the move in recent hours. However, he wants to understand the sporting project and have guarantees on the opportunity to play for the club. Makes sense. He's young, he wants to play. He knows he can go to Juventus, another good club, despite them not being in the Champions League next season. I understand that. PSG's offer to Parma Calcio for Zion Suzuki is worth 28 million euros with add-ons, so 28 plus 5 million in bonuses. The club wants to quickly seal the agreement with the Italian club. Breaking: PSG want to finalize the deal with Parma Calcio for Zion Suzuki. Talks between the two clubs are set to intensify this week as the goalkeeper is open to the move. Zion Suzuki's role at PSG this season will depend on the future of Lucas Chevalier at the club. PSG are working harder to sign the Japanese goalkeeper this summer. And that was the latest report right there from Jamil. So what we can understand from this entire situation is Safanov is the starting goalkeeper, because if PSG have in mind to potentially loan out Suzuki, that means they're not fully guaranteed that he's going to be the starting goalkeeper. So I'm still expecting Safanov to be the starter. I think they just see Suzuki as a great opportunity. And yeah, Luis Enrique and Luis Campos seem to have absolutely zero faith in Lucas Chevalier. So yeah, Safanov, starting goalkeeper going into next season. Suzuki coming in as a backup, putting in some competition. And maybe, who knows, if he performs really well, Safanov drops his level, he could take the starting goalkeeping position. I mean, Luis Enrique wants competitive spots, even the goalkeeping spot. And I remember he actually had that at Barca. Don't forget, when he used to play, Claudio Bravo marked Andre Ter Stegen in the 2014-15 season. I think Bravo played in La Liga and Ter Stegen played in the Champions League. Maybe we could see something interesting like that. Yeah, and Chevalier, I guess his time is over at PSG. So fortunate. I was really excited for him. I was very critical of him this season. I thought he should have done much better. He lacks, mentality. But still, I wanted definitely to give him one more chance. I mean, that goes for every single player I think I've seen at PSG. Yes, there are a couple of them, like the Wijnaldums and some other bums here and there, maybe Skriniar. Like no, one season is enough. But Chevalier, yes, he was really bad. He was terrible. He was horrible, but he can pull it back. Like, let's not forget that Marseille Trophée de Champion final performance. He actually got the finals MVP in that game. Made a lot of great saves throughout the game, and obviously heroics in the penalty shootout, heroics in the penalty shootouts in the UEFA Super Cup as well versus Spurs. So, yeah, very bit sad, Chevalier, but Chevalier could still be staying at the club. But we will still be signing Suzuki. So we go into next season with 3 keepers. But we'll probably loan out Suzuki, most likely to Juventus. That would be a good step up from him, from Parma to Juventus. And then he can come to Paris Saint-Germain. But I think PSG see Suzuki as an opportunity. You know, if we don't sign him now, he's probably going to go, let's say, to a big, I don't know, he goes to Liverpool, as an example. I know they have Mamadashvili, but let's just say he goes to Liverpool. And then when we want to buy him, he's just too expensive. So we want to get him now when we can get him. But yeah, I don't know exactly how I feel about this, but yeah, for me the priority has always been replacing Gonzalo Ramos and Bradley Barcola. But yeah, I think Suzuki is a good keeper from the comps and highlights I've seen. Watched him a little bit during the World Cup as well. So let's do it. That's been it from boy PSGINT. If you guys have enjoyed this video, and as usual, allez Paris.